Before we start the show, let's hear from one of our sponsors. Their support keeps this show free for you. Don't you wish we could scoop up all the electronics in our house and just throw them in the garbage? Are you sick of fighting with your kids about how long and how much? And no, you can't have social media. And no, we're not going to watch our show for 7 hours a day. Electronics are the bane of our existence. But how can we cohabitate with electronics? I have created an event. It's called Plugged In Parenting. And I'm going to be meeting with folks April 29th and 30th for an hour each day at noon to discuss how we can live with electronics in our children without completely indulging them and also without being completely restrictive. Join me for this 2-day event. I can't wait to see you there. Hi, I'm Michelle, a mother of 2 teens. 13 years ago, I traded in punishments and rewards for connection. Now I prioritize relationship over behaviors, utilize play as a parenting tool, and set limits with empathy instead of consequences. Each week, I share my journey and interview clients, experts, and followers. Thanks for joining me on the Peace and Parenting podcast. I'm so glad you're here. I want to talk about siblings because it's been on my mind lately. I think it's what brought me to this work was the fighting between Esme and Pia. And I've talked about it many times that at a certain point I was like, this has got to stop. I cannot function in this way anymore. And that's when I made a profound change and walked away from the idea of punishments completely. But I want to talk about a few different aspects. And one of those aspects is that I grew up in a household where my sibling relationship wasn't really fostered with my sister, between my sister and I. And I'm not going to blame my parents, but we didn't really get along growing up. And I think there were a lot of things in our family dynamic that didn't foster the relationship that I share with my sister. And so we've done better now. We get along really well now. And we've gone through, both of us, lots of therapy and a lot of strife and a lot of work. It hasn't been easy at all. But I think that experience of having a sister and having a sister who I didn't get along with growing up, and then having 2 girls really pushed me over the edge, really threw me for a loop, because it was like I was living out my own childhood all over again in my mind, right? Which wasn't true. But in my mind, I was like, nope, no, you are not going to be mean to your sister because I know how this is going to end and this is not going to be good and I'm going to squash it. And so me squashing it was punitive and harshness and all the things that, I don't believe in now. But I was so ignited and I was so triggered. And I went into this alert state, high alert state, that I was like, I am going to make sure that this child is not unkind to her sister, because that is not happening on my watch. That is just not happening on my watch. And so I went too far. I just, everything Esme did to our sister. No, you can't do that. No, you got to go to timeout. We are not unkind to our sister. That is not happening. I mean, I was all over her because I thought that I was going to somehow doing that was going to prevent them from having a bad relationship, which that was not the case at all. That definitely was not the case. It only made things worse because Esme was this strong-willed, highly sensitive personality, and she just started to fight back, and her fighting back was taking it out on her sister more. So I exacerbated this schism that existed between them. I really made it worse. I exacerbated the already existing sibling rivalry. Esme already felt like her sister had taken her place in the family. She had already thought, that I liked her sister better. And me coming down on her just solidified that. So then she was like, fine, I'm just going to continue to take it out on Pia because she's why I'm having a hard time in this family. And I couldn't see it for a long time. I think I couldn't see it for like 3 years. 2 to 3 years, I couldn't see it. I really couldn't see that it was me and that I was exacerbating everything. And what I really couldn't see, which I've seen since then, I think even later on, is that my own childhood, my own upbringing, and my own sibling relationship was really triggering me, was really pushing me to behave in ways that were not healthy because I was so in high alert and I was so consumed with my own triggers. I didn't even know they were triggers. I didn't even know this was happening. It was so subconscious. But now looking back on it and reflecting and having, space and time to do so, and having done this work for so long, now I can clearly see that, my reactions came from my own experiences. And that's often what happens in parenting, right? Like our own experiences really jade the way in which we experience our parenting, because we are dragging the things that are hard, that were, tumultuous, that were traumatic. We drag those into our parenting kind of just unknowingly, subconsciously. And then we operate in this world of fear, and it creates actions that are maybe too big or not big enough, or it clouds the way that we react to our kids because we're operating in an old hurt or an old wound. Before we continue, let's take a moment to thank our sponsors. Their support lets us keep bringing you the show completely free. Are you a mom who feels like you're juggling it all, but something just feels off? It could also be your hormones causing this chaos. Hormone Harmony contains science-backed herbal extracts called adaptogens. Now, here's the beauty of adaptogens. They help the body adapt to any stressors like chaotic hormonal changes that happen naturally throughout a woman's life. That's why Hormone Harmony is perfect for women of all ages who are struggling with life-disrupting symptoms such as PMS, like irritability, moodiness, discomfort, or uncontrollable cravings, and menopause with symptoms like hot flashes and night sweats. The results are impressive. There are over 40,000 reviews on their website. Women cannot stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. So for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code PEACE. Check out happymammoth.com. Use the code PEACE for 15% off today. Are you sick of the sibling fighting? Are you tired of asking your child to do the same thing over and over and over again, only to end up using threats and bribes to try to get them to cooperate? Well, it doesn't have to be like that. You can learn the ideas of connection through our Connected Parent Mastermind group coaching program. We meet 3 days a week. Myself and my 2 coaches hold meetings. We also give you access to all of my online materials, meaning 10 modules of instruction, PDFs, podcasts, and my book. You get to join our school community and interact with coaches and myself and so many parents who are doing this work just alongside you. So if you're feeling stuck, or if you want to accelerate your connected parenting practice even further, join the Connected Parent Mastermind. Click the link in the show notes for more information. Thanks for supporting our sponsors. Now back to the show. So I think I really realized that the worst thing I could have done in the sibling relationship that Esme and Pia shared, the worst thing I could have done is what I did, was to come in with punitive measures, to come down on Esme, to reprimand, to shame, even just to correct, because she's strong-willed and highly sensitive. Like that correction for her was not good. She was not going to do well with that because it created shame, and she's shame adverse because she's a strong-willed sensitive kid. So she doesn't do well with shame at all. And it was the ultimate shaming experience, was to call her out and tell her she was wrong and come down on her. And that shame in her created more angst and more upset and more sibling rivalry. What I really think too is that the relationship that your siblings share with one another is only as good as the relationships that you share with each of your children. So if you have a good connected relationship with each of your children, they will get along better. Now, is it going to be perfect? No. You have to learn how to navigate and problem solve and figure out how to come to them in the situations that are hard. But you have to start with the idea of connection. So with the idea of connection, we really help our kids come to their sibling relationship with more connection, with more ability to share, with more ability to reason, with more ability to, navigate those hard moments, because their prefrontal's online, their brain is online. And when their brain is online, they can think better and they can do better with one another. So in the sibling relationship, there's a bunch of things going on. There's a few things going on, right? One is what's going on in your own childhood, and how are you not dragging that into your parenting, and how's that affecting everything? Then two, this this idea of how are you interacting or intervening when your kids are having a fight? And I say, definitely don't leave it to them to figure out. That is not the way to go, because the older one or the stronger one will likely win. And then that causes a lot of problems. So there's those two things. And then this third idea is that, you have to have a connected relationship, because you cannot come in as the coach. You cannot come in as the mediator in a sibling relationship unless you have a connected relationship with your children, because they aren't going to listen to you. They're not going to think that you have their best interest in mind. And if you're punishing or using punitivity, they are also not going to trust you. And they're going to throw that sibling person under the bus because they don't want to get in trouble. So we've got these three kind of facets going on in parenting our siblings. And all three facets have to be worked on, because if they aren't, then we can't make the headway that we need to make, most especially the connection piece. Because if you do the connection piece, you're taking out a big chunk of dysregulation for your child. Not only that, you work on the connection piece, your kid's going to do better in school. Your kid's going to do better with you. Your kid is going to do better with their friends. Your kid is going to do better with their boyfriend or girlfriend. Your kid is just going to do better because they feel better because they're connected. So connection is a non-negotiable, but it highly affects the sibling relationship. So without the connection pieces, like I could tell you all day long, like you should say this and you should come in with that and you should be neutral here and you should, do this and that and the other thing. But if your child doesn't feel connected to you, many of those things are not going to work because they don't trust you. And if they don't trust you with what you're saying and how you're intervening and how you're helping solve problems, then all is lost. So sibling rivalry is like one of my favorite things to talk about, because I have so much experience personally with it, both as a sibling myself who's remedied that situation, and also because I have girls and that's what brought me to this work. I believe that the sibling relationship, if you have siblings, that this is a perfect place to work very holistically on your parenting, to really work in a many multifaceted way to get it all coming together. So I gave a masterclass a little while ago, and that masterclass is really designed to tell you why what you're doing is not working. And then we give you what you can do instead. And those two pieces together, along with the connection piece, is like the complete package around parenting siblings. So I'm going to leave the link in here, and it's called Sibling Rivalry, Why What You're Doing is Probably Not Working Out. But I like that title. And if you want to catch the replay on that, you can. And so I'll leave the link there, and you can, sign up for the replay and watch it. And we give you a bonus. So that bonus is incredible too. And we set you up with some great material to get the sibling relationship moving and to get connection moving and to really rethink the way in which you are coming to your kids and to really rethink the things that you're doing in your house that probably are not working, and understand the why. And when we understand the why, then we can really change our pedagogy. All right. Thank you for joining me on the Peace and Parenting podcast. I'm going to leave that link in the show notes, and I hope to see you soon.
Hey there, Peace and Parenting family. If you love the podcast but wish to enjoy it without interruptions, your wish has come true. Introducing the ad-free version of the Peace and Parenting podcast, available exclusively on Apple Podcast. As a subscriber, you'll get all the heartfelt advice, parenting stories, and actionable tips you love without any ads. For less than the cost of a coffee each month, you will enjoy uninterrupted listening while also supporting our work to help you build stronger connections with your kids. Try it out for free. Simply find Peace and Parenting on Apple Podcasts, click Try Free, and you'll gain immediate access to our ad-free episodes. There's no commitment and you can cancel anytime. So if you're ready for a more peaceful, uninterrupted listening experience, subscribe now. Let's keep focusing on connection without the distractions.